Within the first 48 hours after a major collapse, these 9 everyday items will vanish. No warning, no backups, and once they're gone, you're on your own. Preppers on Reddit, Facebook groups, and top survival forums are sounding the alarm. These household essentials are always the first to disappear when the system breaks down. This isn't just about food and water. I'm talking about the forgotten items, things you use every single day that will be impossible to find after a crisis hits. From hygiene supplies to tools people never think about until it's too late, we're breaking down the viral SHTF prepping list, ranked from number 9 to the single most overlooked survival essential at number 1. Stick around, because missing even one of these could mean the difference between staying prepared or being caught completely off guard. Item 1, toilet paper and paper towels. You might laugh now, but trust me, toilet paper is survival gold when the system crashes. We've already seen it happen. During the first few weeks of the COVID-19 pandemic, U.S. toilet paper sales jumped 48% in just 3 days. That's not a guess, that's according to Nielsen data. Store shelves were stripped bare, people were literally fighting in grocery aisles over TP, and it wasn't even a full collapse, just a supply chain shakeup. Now imagine a true SHTF scenario. Power down, trucks stopped, no restocks, no factories running. That soft, simple roll you take for granted, gone. The same goes for paper towels. They're not just for cleaning up messes. In a collapse, people use them for hygiene, first aid, makeshift filters, even fire starting. And once they're gone, there's no easy replacement. You can't exactly grow toilet paper in your backyard. What's wild is that most people still don't keep extra on hand. According to a 2024 survey by the U.S. Preparedness Council, over 63% of American households have less than a 2-week supply of hygiene paper goods. That's it. 2 weeks before panic mode. Preppers on Reddit and survival forums constantly list TP as a top barter item, because when dignity disappears, people pay anything to get it back. So if you think toilet paper isn't a priority, think again. In a crisis, clean stays king, and you don't want to be the one wiping with leaves. Item 2. Hygiene products. You might brush this off, but in a crisis, soap and toothpaste become as precious as fuel. Here's why. Preppers on Reddit and survival forums all agree. Hygiene supplies are among the first essentials to disappear after a collapse. Pantry goods might last weeks, but soap, shampoo, toothpaste, wipes, gone in days and impossible to replace when trucks stop rolling. Here's a surprising fact to sink in. Globally, 1 in 3 families can't afford basic hygiene like soap or deodorant. Some even bathe without soap or reuse diapers. That's not just poverty, it's a health crisis waiting to explode. When society breaks down, this margin tightens for everyone. Experts at tactical.com warn that in grid-down scenarios, stores close fast. That means no restocks on hygiene or medical items at all. You'll find yourself cutting wipes for water filtering, using shampoo as disinfectant, improvised solutions that just don't measure up. Soap and toothpaste aren't luxury, they're essential weapons in your health arsenal. Without them, infection rates spike, and without baby wipes, diaper crises in cleanliness spiral fast. Here's where most people slip. Surveys show over 70% of low-income households regularly sacrifice buying hygiene items just to afford food or rent. In collapse, if you haven't prepped extra supplies, you'll be scraping by and losing more than comfort. You'll lose safety, dignity, and health. So if you're building your bug out or shelter stash, stock up on hygiene products now. Clean is survival. Don't let it be your downfall. Item 3, medical supplies, band-aids, gauze, disinfectants, antibiotics. You may not worry now, but when chaos hits, this stuff is your medical lifeline. No hospitals, no pharmacies, just what you've prepped. Reddit preppers keep sounding the alarm. Band-aids, gauze, disinfectants, even second-tier antibiotics disappear first in a real crisis. People panic buy, shelves empty in hours. Here's the shocking part. As of June 30th, 2024, there were 39 active antimicrobial drug shortages in the U.S., including top antibiotics like amoxicillin. Some pharmacies reported shortages lasting 5 to 7 months, not weeks. That's according to hospital and pharmacy data. Gauze and adhesive bandages are more critical than you think. A small cut in the wild can spiral into infection fast. As practical prepping guides warn, you can burn through yards of gauze treating what seem like minor wounds. Disinfectants, not optional. Without antiseptic wipes or alcohol, even simple scrapes can get infected. And with antimicrobial resistant bacteria on the rise, infections that were once mild could turn deadly. The CDC reports over 2.8 million resistant infections in the U.S. every year, causing more than 35,000 deaths. Preppers on Reddit emphasize antibiotics, broad spectrum if needed, as a high-value barter item when help is nowhere near. Imagine searching for amoxicillin and finding nothing. No luck. That's the reality some pharmacies already faced for months. In an SHTF situation, having these medical supplies isn't luxury, it's preventive strategy. Without these basics, you risk infection, complications, or worse. So stock extra band-aids, gauze, disinfectants, and at least a minimal antibiotic supply where legal. Because when help vanishes, your stash becomes your doctor. Time to take action before it's too late. Item 4. Fuel-free lighting. Items. You may not think lighting matters until the power cuts out, but when it does, matches, lighters, and solar lanterns become life or death tools. No grid power, no street lights, nothing. Reddit preppers often stress this. Most people don't even have candles, a lighter, matches. It's weird. One user said a simple blackout made him realize how few people own basic light sources. Without light, even a few hours of darkness feels endless. Here's a shocking fact. A single Bic lighter can deliver around 3,000 lights. One Redditor pointed out just how reliable they are, even surviving being washed and still working. Others go as far as recommending carrying 3 or more because they're cheap and last years. Matches can get soggy and welders rust, but a Bic, often the best prepper tool you can get. Solar lanterns, they're a game changer. As a top choice on Reddit, rechargeable solar lights are ideal for both short-term and long-term power outages. Real-world tests show households using them daily. 80% of families used solar lights every day, averaging 3-4 hours of light per day. That's clean, consistent, fuel-free brightness when everything else goes dark. When collapse hits, stores sell out of lighters fast. People hoard what works. Matches get damp and useless. Solar lanterns, once prices drop, vanish off the shelves too. Here's why you need multiple solutions. A Bic lighter may fail in extreme cold. Matches won't work when wet. A solar lantern is brilliant, but it must be charged and sunlight may not shine when you need it. Together, they back each other up. In short, prep with redundancy. Carry several stable lighters. Store waterproof matches in sealed containers. Most importantly, invest in top-quality solar lanterns and keep them charged. Because in darkness, your light isn't just convenience, it's survival. And when fuel disappears, these are the tools that keep you in the light. Item 5. Water purification. Means you might assume clean water is just a tap turn away. But in a real crisis, safe drinking water becomes your most critical lifeline. And without purification tools, illness isn't just possible, it's probable. Preppers on Reddit repeatedly emphasize this. Every bug-out bag should include filters, tablets, and sturdy containers. One Redditor noted, water purification tabs for small quantities, unscented bleach for large quantities, have water stockpiled for next time. That sums up the strategy. Redundancy is essential. Here's a shocking fact. Globally, over 2.2 billion people still lack access to safely managed drinking water, and more than 4.4 billion people worldwide use unsafe water sources at home. That's according to the latest WHO and UN data. Unsafe water leads to diseases like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, and even in normal times causes over 1.5 million deaths each year. That reality becomes your emergency if municipal water systems go dark. Filters like Sawyer or Life Straw remove bacteria and protozoa, but not all viruses or chemicals. Tablets and unscented bleach can treat larger volumes and even neutralize viruses when used correctly. Reddit consensus. Tablets are fast, lightweight, and long-lasting. Bleach is cheap and effective for bulk treatment, but don't rely on filters alone. Containers matter too. Storing water in clean sealed bottles or drums keeps a buffer. Just be sure to treat before drinking. A Reddit user drinking 6-month-old stored water reported it tasted stale but was otherwise okay. No stomach issues, if properly stored and treated. When collapse hits, trucked water and bottled supplies disappear fast. You may face contamination from flooding, compromised pipes, or viral pathogens. You don't want to be stuck with moldy jugs and no way to purify. Stock multiple options, several reliable filters, purification tablets, bleach, and durable containers. Use them periodically to rotate supplies, because when water turns dangerous, but essential, you're only as safe as the purification gear you've prepped. Item 6. Batteries and power storage. Batteries, solar chargers, power banks. Here's a harsh truth. When the grid fails, everything you rely on dies with it. Flashlights, radios, even your phone. That's why preppers everywhere say batteries and portable power aren't optional, they're essential. Reddit threads are filled with one common regret. I didn't realize how fast my gear burned through batteries. People underestimate how many they need. A flashlight running 3 hours a night can burn through a set of AAs in less than 4 days. Multiply that across radios, lanterns, and tools, and you'll chew through your supply way faster than you think. But it gets worse. In a crisis, batteries vanish fast. During natural disasters like hurricanes and wildfires, stores report complete sellouts within 24-48 hours. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, even a short regional blackout can disrupt supply chains and cripple battery restocking for weeks. This is where solar chargers and power banks become game changers. Reddit users often recommend high-output solar panels, 15 Ws or more, paired with 20,000 to 50,000 milliamp banks to power phones, rechargeable lanterns, radios, even small medical devices. In sunny conditions, a good panel can recharge a power bank in about a day, buying you days of use in return. Some even rotate between multiple banks to stay ahead. But here's something most people miss. Not all batteries store well. Alkaline batteries degrade in heat or moisture. Reddit preppers recommend lithium AAs, more expensive but far more stable. And rechargeable NIMH batteries with a solar charger give you a near endless loop of energy. Bottom line, power is life support in a blackout. If you rely on anything electronic, light, communication, even defense tools like night vision or optics, you must stock extra batteries and plan a way to recharge them. No one thinks about energy storage until the lights go out. Don't be left fumbling in the dark. Prep now, because in collapse, electricity becomes currency. Item 7, duct tape and superglue. Duct tape, superglue, fasteners. When disaster strikes, duct tape and superglue become survival tools, not just niceties. Think of them as the Swiss Army knives of your emergency kit. Reddit preppers frequently rave about duct tape. One user said, duct tape, surprisingly versatile for everything from splinting to sealing. And they aren't exaggerating. It repairs leaks, patches shelter, baits in splints, and even improvises cordage when twisted up tight. Tactical.com and prepping guides consistently list duct tape on bug-out bag essentials. For good reason, it's lightweight, durable, and multi-use. Even more surprising, superglue makes the cut too. Reddit users recommend keeping small, single-use tubes in IFAKs, individual first aid kits, because it can seal minor cuts in a pinch when medical-grade adhesives are out of reach. It works fast and weighs almost nothing. Here's where it becomes critical. In chaotic collapse scenarios, hardware stores and supermarkets sell out fast. You'll be cutting tarps with whatever you can grab. Without tape or glue, you're stuck improvising. And here's a weird fact. Regular superglue has been used medically since the Vietnam War, and some studies conclude that for minor wounds, it's just as safe or safer than traditional sutures. That's not movie magic, it's battlefield proven. Duct tape shelf life is long, but store it sealed and dry. Superglue? Keep it cool. Many preppers warn that tubes dry out over time if left in heat or humidity. Tactical. Rotate your supplies every year. Here's how they back you up. Duct tape holds together shelters, fixes gear, and creates quick bandages or splints. Superglue closes small cuts cleanly in emergency medical situations. Fasteners, screws, nuts, bolts are static, but tape and glue adapt on the fly. Without these, you'll run into breakdowns, literally. Gear rips, tents tear, wounds go untreated. In SHTF conditions, skill plus duct tape plus superglue equals resilience. So stock small rolls of heavy-duty duct tape, keep mini tubes of superglue in your medical pouch, and understand how to replace torn fasteners with patchwork fixes, because in collapse, repairability is survival. Item 8, writing and office supplies, pens, paper, notebooks, tape, envelopes. This might sound odd, but in a long-term collapse, pens and paper become powerful tools for communication, record keeping, bartering, and even survival planning. Think about it. In a world where the grid is down, there's no internet, no phone service, and no functioning digital tools, handwritten notes and physical records become your only connection to others and your own memory. Reddit preppers have discussed this in depth. One user shared how, after just a few days without power during a hurricane, they had to start keeping paper records of trades, water rationing schedules, and neighborhood updates. Another noted that ink pens and spiral notebooks were bartered for food and water in parts of Eastern Europe during civil unrest. These items are cheap now, but they become scarce when manufacturing and supply chains grind to a halt. And here's a surprising fact. In Venezuela's collapse, paper goods became highly sought-after items, not just for hygiene, but for keeping ledgers, letters, and official documentation when computers were useless. Physical paper kept people organized and legally protected. Even simple things like duct tape, labels, and envelopes help organize supplies, mark expiration dates, or create DIY warning signs. In a chaotic environment, clear labeling and written instructions save time, and possibly lives. Government agencies like FEMA and Ready.gov also advise storing paper maps, emergency contacts, and printed medical records in your go bag. Why? Because you can't rely on your phone in a grid-down situation, and memory fades quickly under stress. Here's the prepper takeaway. Stock up on pens, ballpoint, waterproof if possible, notebooks, permanent markers, tape, envelopes, and labels. Keep a dry, sealed kit in your bug-out bag or shelter stash. In normal times, it's office clutter. But after the collapse, a working pen could be worth more than your phone. Item 9. Pet necessities and consumables. Let's talk about something most people overlook until it's far too late: your pets. In a true SHTF scenario, pet food, diapers, treats, and basic supplies disappear faster than you think. Most folks assume they'll just figure it out when the time comes, but anyone who's lived through even a minor supply chain disruption knows how quickly shelves get stripped bare. Now, imagine there's no restocking, no trucks, no second chances. If this video made you think twice about what's really essential after a collapse, then it's time to take action. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because the truth is, once these supplies vanish, they're not coming back anytime soon. So do this. Hit that like button if you learned something new today. It helps more people just like you find this critical info before it's too late. Subscribe if you're serious about staying ahead of the chaos. We break down real prepping strategies straight from survival forums, Reddit insiders, and proven expert data. No fluff. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What's one item you're stocking up that most people forget? Your tip might save someone's pet, someone's family, maybe even someone's life. Prepping isn't fear, it's responsibility, and it starts with knowledge and the will to act on it. Stay sharp, stay ready, stay human, and I'll see you in the next one. Pet food isn't just another grocery item. It's a daily non-negotiable for millions of households. According to Reddit preppers and top survival forums, long-term pet food storage should be treated with the same level of urgency as human rations. Some users go as far as storing 6 to 9 months of dry dog or cat food, rotating regularly to keep it fresh. Canned pet food in particular is a game changer. Properly stored, it can last years, which makes it ideal for long-haul prepping. And the scariest part, in a 2024 report by the American Feed Industry Association, they warned of increasing delays due to ongoing trucker shortages, port congestion, and international grain supply issues. That's before a disaster. If the system collapses, pet food might not even make it onto the list of critical shipments, but food isn't the only thing that disappears. Let's not forget about pet diapers, training pads, grooming wipes, and treats. These might seem like small luxuries now, but they become vital during emergencies, especially in indoor or urban environments where pets can't roam freely. Pet-safe cleaning supplies also become extremely hard to find once panic sets in. Manufacturers prioritize human needs during crises, so if you're counting on picking up more shampoo or parasite medication later, you're gambling with your pet's health. And there's more. Those tiny probiotic supplements or chewable vitamins your dog needs, they're produced in limited batches and often imported. Once they're gone, they're gone. You might think, I'll just make homemade pet food if I have to. And that's a good instinct for dogs to an extent. Many preppers have shared their makeshift recipes using boiled rice, carrots, broth, and even eggs. But this is a temporary fix, not a sustainable plan. Dogs are flexible eaters, yes, but you still risk nutrient imbalances without veterinary guidance. For cats, it's much worse. Cats are obligate carnivores. They require specific amino acids like taurine, which is nearly impossible to get right without proper commercial food. There are multiple stories on Reddit where cat owners tried switching to homemade meals during minor disruptions, only to see severe health effects like lethargy, poor coat quality, or worse. One user even reported a vet bill that cost more than a year's supply of commercial food. And let's not ignore the emotional toll. Your pets are part of your family. Running out of food or supplies for them during an emergency creates panic, not just for them, but for you too. According to research conducted on food insecure communities in 2023, about 38% of pet owners admitted to running out of pet food at least occasionally, even under normal conditions. In many of these cases, it led to heartbreaking decisions like rehoming or surrendering their animals. That's without grid-down scenarios, closed highways, or collapsed economies. Imagine those numbers in a total breakdown. Another point that rarely gets mentioned is barter value. In a true collapse, pet food, especially high-protein, long shelf life varieties, becomes a highly valuable item. Same goes for disposable items like pet diapers and wipes. You'll find people willing to trade serious resources for these, because when a beloved animal is hungry or sick, people act fast and with emotion. Some preppers on survival forums even said they'd rather stock extra pet food than another box of MREs because they know someone will always need it. So what can you do now to avoid that nightmare later? First, store enough dry and canned food for your pet to last at least 6 months, if not more. Store it in cool, airtight containers and rotate it often. Every time you buy a new bag, use the oldest first. Don't rely on just one stash either. Separate it across locations if possible. Second, buy extras of everything: training pads, wipes, dental treats, flea meds, even nail clippers. These small items might seem minor, but when they're gone, there's no replacing them. And third, if you do want a backup plan, write down a basic feeding formula that includes real protein, carbohydrates, and a fat source, but know its limits, especially for cats. In a real survival scenario, pet supplies aren't just for comfort. They're part of your survival plan. You've chosen to care for another life, and in return, they offer companionship, security, and mental stability, things that matter more than ever in chaos. So don't gamble on restocking later. Prepare now. Because when the shelves are empty and the trucks stop running, your dog or cat won't understand why their bowl is empty. But you will. If this video made you think twice about what's really essential after a collapse, then it's time to take action. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because the truth is, once these supplies vanish, they're not coming back anytime soon. So do this. Hit that like button if you learned something new today. It helps more people just like you find this critical info before it's too late. Subscribe if you're serious about staying ahead of the chaos. We break down real prepping strategies, straight from survival forums, Reddit insiders, and proven expert data, no fluff. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What's one item you're stocking up that most people forget? Your tip might save someone's pet, someone's family, maybe even someone's life. Prepping isn't fear, it's responsibility. And it starts with knowledge and the will to act on it. Stay sharp, stay ready, stay human, and I'll see you in the next one.